There's a sequence, there's a code, there's a combination. And when you get the right combination, it unlocks everything for us. What's up?
What's going on?
How are you guys?
Good.
We're doing good.
Good. Well, I appreciate you guys jumping in, hanging out, and for all of you guys listening in, welcome to another episode of the Coach Code podcast. I know if you guys are listening to this on the podcast platforms, we kind of throw different conversations at you, and today is really around the Coach Code concept of right things, right order. There's a sequence and a code to unlock anything in our lives, and once you have it, you know the magic happens. And so, I love just being able to bring amazing people on and just share their story. And, you know, I think there's definitely always lessons to be learned in how people go about things and maybe connect some dots for some people. So welcome. Appreciate you guys jumping in. So why don't you guys give a little bit of a background, a little bit of, you know, y'all's story.
Yeah. So I can go ahead and start. So I got into real estate just over 4 years ago. Prior to real estate, I was studying business and finance in college, worked in the banking industry for a little bit, doing, you know, a typical 9 to 5. It wasn't what I really wanted to do. I was getting kind of burned out. Two things kind of happened that got me interested in real estate. First off, my parents did some investing during the 2008-2009 crisis. And they picked up some homes in Arizona. So I was kind of able to see their journey with investing in real estate. Mm-hmm. It's not like they're these huge investors, but they, you know, risked a lot of money in that downturn in hopes that it was going to turn out well. And they did. And then working at the bank, I would always see real estate agents come in with, you know, some of their checks from closings. And I'm like, okay, what are these guys doing? That looks cool. Yeah. And so at the time, Bri was working at Starbucks, and she had an agent that would come in like every single morning to Starbucks. And I was like, hey, I'm thinking about getting into real estate. She's like, well, you should talk to this guy that comes into our Starbucks every morning. And so I did. And he was an agent out of Scottsdale. And I left that meeting not wanting to do real estate. Like, he kind of scared me.
What did he say to scare you?
Well, he's like, you know, why do you want to get into real estate? And at that time, I didn't really know why. I was like, it looks like I can make a lot of money.
Yeah, he was chasing the check for sure.
Yeah. And so he's like, you know, there's a lot of ways you can make money in this world. There's a lot of easier ways you can make money. Like, if you're in banking, you can work your way up in the banking industry and make good money. Like, it's not like this is the only way to make money. And then he started telling me like everything he does and all the difficulties with real estate. And I'm like, wow, maybe this guy's right. Maybe I'm just curious about the chance of making more money. Maybe it's not truly what I want to do. So fast forward, probably I didn't do it for like another year. We ended up moving back to Idaho. Bri had got like an internship at the INL here. And I was like, hey, she's making more money than I am now. I got to do something. So I was like, you know, I'm going to just get my license just because I feel like I want to invest in real estate down the road anyway. So let me just get it, kind of see how I like it and see if selling's what I like to do. Or if anything, maybe I'll just get it for myself for the future.
Sure.
And then joined a team, started doing production, kind of just kicked off. And then two years down the road, I was able to convince Bri to come work with me because she's good at everything that I'm not good at. So
yeah, I think we really complement each other and pick up for each other what each other lacks. I don't like hard conversations. I don't like negotiations. I'm the least salesy real estate agent you'll probably ever meet. I negotiate my commissions before my clients even ask me to negotiate my commissions. Like, it's horrible. So I don't like that. He's really good at that, but he also doesn't like the organization or like the processes or systems. And that is what I enjoy and I love. And I also love, like, we have a big team now. And so we're like structuring all of our trainings for them. And I enjoy that. And he doesn't enjoy that. So I feel like we've never really stepped on each other's toes. And we've never really had to have that conversation just because I know that he's not going to just go start making systems and processes. Like, I would never catch him doing that on a Saturday.
Right.
And definitely won't catch me negotiating a contract. I did that once, and he's like, "Yeah, you're never doing that again."
Yeah, you're good.
she's like, "Hey, we're discounting our commission on this." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Did they ask?" She's like, "No, but after they said it, they got quiet, and so I just offered to go down." And I'm like,
I got nervous.
Like, yeah, leave that to me. I'll do the talking on that.
Yeah. You're good. Well, just you stay over here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome. So, Bri, so how was the Starbucks experience? I've always heard,
Oh, I
the
loved
training
it.
and the culture and everything is just unbelievable.
It was honestly like my favorite, like 9 to 5 type job, or like a W-2 job for sure. If I ever had to go back, I'm really social. I'm a people person, and I thrive in like really fast-paced environments. So working in Phoenix, I mean, we were like one of the busiest shops. I mean, 5 a.m. would come around and we would have 20 drinks lined up that I had to make, and it was so much fun. I loved it.
And she was the best barista. She
I
just
just
crank out those
yeah.
drinks. Like, she had her system in place, and
Yeah, it was so much fun. But the culture was amazing. Like our team would go out probably once a month, like for lunch or for wine or for whatever. We had Christmas parties, like just something you wouldn't expect in such a big corporation. But we were like really, really close. And even still, like when we go back to Phoenix, they'll message like, come visit us. So it was awesome.
What were some of the lessons that during that time and that experience that, kind of ingrained in you that have carried over on, the professional side of things?
Probably, I would say learning how to get along with just about anybody. I mean, you never know who's walking in that door. And our team lead would always say, like, this might be our first customer of the day, or this might be your 100th customer of the day, but it might be their first interaction of the day. Like, they maybe just woke up. Maybe they just got off a really tough shift working at the hospital. You have no idea. And so he's like, you need to greet everyone as if they were your very first face walking through that door. And he like engraved that in us. So I was really good at just like treating the first person and the last person of every shift with a big smile and a lot of cheer.
And that's probably translated to like treating our clients, whether they're a high-end client, a low-end client, we treat them all the same.
Yeah.
That's probably where a lot of that came from.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just a great lesson. And it's a lesson in empathy is exactly what that is, right?
Yeah.
And it's just a great reminder of that. You never know, right? You never know. They could have got off a tough shift, like you said, at the hospital. Could have been tough, morning with the kiddos. Could have been just rough with whatever. You just never know. And that really is empathy. Yeah. And so being able to learn that and then, carry that over and incorporate it into, the culture and the business and the things that you guys are doing, the things that you're building is incredible. And I'm sure, Anthony, you've had, lessons in the banking side of things and being able to go that route. And it's so important to be able to, and definitely a message even for, kiddos going in and like go in and learn and learn, as much as you possibly can. Don't go there and, make yourself irreplaceable. Go in and be that, but suck up as much information. And for me, that was when I lived out in California and at the golf course. I just had one of those amazing bosses that she goes, you know how to hit a golf ball, you know how to, teach kids how to play golf, but you got to learn the business side of things. And that was one of the greatest experiences for me. It was my college. It was my college of just learning food and beverage, learning, the lodging side of things, learning, the marketing, learning, hey, we're having an uptick in, people coming in wearing tank tops. She goes, you know how you fix it? How do you fix that? She goes, you raise the price. Literally, we raised the price by $3. And it changed the people that came. Crazy. And so it's just like those little things that without just being immersed with somebody that has that knowledge to be able to pour into you, it just helps us see things a little different.
Yeah. And I think that like there's an opportunity in anything, like any position that you're at in life, you can find the opportunity or find something to learn to make you better for the future. It's like, I think there's a lot of pressure on people to be at a certain level by a certain age right now, with just like social media and stuff. Yeah. And it's like, it's okay to be working at a restaurant, working in food and beverage, working in, the banking industry, working at whatever.
There is something to learn.
Yeah. And learn something that's going to progress you forward. It's like, don't get down on yourself for your current situation. Just become the best at whatever you're doing right now. Mm-hmm. And that'll help you in the future to progress. So yeah,
that's great. So getting in, making the decision for you on the real estate side of things, when you like, man, this is it. This is we're all in. This is going to work. Was there one like a moment for you that like, yep, this is it?
Well, he had no choice. We had like no money, and he was signing up for classes. And I had just left my internship. It just wasn't. It was a totally different pace. Very, very slow, very quiet.
Yeah.
Totally different than Starbucks. Just not for me. So I started a marketing agency, and so I had started my own company. And in the same month, he's like, "I'm going to do real estate." Okay, well, we had zero money, so he takes a credit card that had like, what was the limit on it?
Yeah, I took out. So I got an American Express credit card, like one of the low level ones that was like $3,000 limit for 15 months.
No interest.
Yeah, no interest for 15 months. So basically, I took that out, paid for my classes, and was like, "Okay, my classes were $1,200, $1,500. So I'm like, basically, I've got $1,500 to max this out, and I better start trying to produce something."
Has no option.
Yeah, we really didn't have a whole lot of savings or anything like that.
I think we're only like 19.
I think I was 20.
20. Yeah.
So then I was out knocking doors, hanging flyers. I mean, literally doing whatever I could to try to start a business. The team that I was on, he was a great coach or mentor. His team didn't really provide any leads. So I was just out trying to produce by myself. And I finally got some traction after door knocking. I got a listing followed by 3 other listings in that area, just from neighbors. And then I was producing well. And so I'm like, hey, I'm going to leave the team that I was with. And I had this idea. Going to school in Phoenix, we knew about a brokerage called HomeSmart. And I sent it to my team lead. I was like, hey, there's this brokerage in Arizona that I think would do really well here, because we don't really have any flat fee brokerages here. And he took a look at it, and within 2 days, he's like, let's franchise it. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You'd only been in real estate for like a few months at this point.
Yeah. He was a very big, go.
Make decisions fast. Yeah.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden I was like, okay, well, took everything I had and went into a partnership with him and franchised a brokerage within 7 months of being licensed. And that forced me to learn extremely quick. Because we grew that brokerage to about 60, 70 agents by the time I sold out of it. And being a new agent, like other agents that were bringing on the brokerage, I was kind of like the mentor, training them, teaching them how to do things, helping them with their contracts. And so I had it it forced me to learn so much in that first 2 years. So yeah, I didn't really have a choice. Things just happened that forced me to grow really quickly.
But he also learned really quickly. I remember when he franchised the brokerage, and he wasn't a broker, but he was just he was saying that point of contact for a lot of these new agents. They had no idea that he hadn't even been licensed as long as they had, but he just knew so much. So they felt comfortable coming to him.
Yeah.
But I remember him saying the broker or the brokerage side of things isn't what I enjoy. I don't enjoy contracts. I enjoy the mentoring side, but I also enjoy the sales side, which is why he sold out of that part, just because I didn't enjoy it.
I didn't like playing babysitter on that big of a level, which kind of sounds contradictory to, me growing a team and playing babysitter again.
But
it's a little bit different. Yeah. It's we're not trying to just bring anybody onto the team. We're trying to be very specific about who we bring on and keeping a culture that we want within the team.
So, I mean, it's just different business model. So it just solves a different problem. And with that flat fee model, it sounds like the only way you guys are going to make any money is off of volume. So you just need a bunch of agents.
100%. It's all agent count on that. And you're not even looking for high producing agents. You're just looking for agents that are going to close 6 deals a year, 7 deals a year, that are going to pay their monthly fees. And then you just try to scale that out. And what I learned with that was we attract the people that don't typically produce.
It's the same tank top situation. You're attracting a totally different audience than, one of the more luxury brokerages. So
and what I also learned is that audience tends to need a lot more than if we brought on top producers, and those top producers wouldn't need anything from us really. They knew how to do their contracts, they knew how to do all this stuff. We'd bring on those new agents that didn't know how to close any deals, and they were sometimes the most needy with your time and help and everything like that. And I was like, okay, this model isn't really what I want to do, or what I want to focus on. I like production, and I like building a team, and I like being a mentor, but I don't like having to be a mentor to everybody. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does 100%. We were, at the last kitchen table, Joel Perso had Joel was there. He's had the opportunity. I've known Joel for a long time, and he's now COO at Sphere Rocket.
Okay.
And so Joel was just kind of sharing his experience, and just talking about a relationship, partnership that he was in. And you can choose to look at it, as he put it, as either a divorce or a graduation. And a lot of people have a hard time understanding that concept. And it's also kind of the master and the apprentice type of relationship. And, at some point, if you're a good, if you're a good, in that master type role, at some point you want the apprentice to become the master as well.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have a hard time with that transition. And so just the way he broke it down is that, you have a choice. You can choose this to be a divorce, or you can choose this to be a graduation. And so, for you realizing you just don't know what you don't know. And you got to a point within the business model. It's like, yeah, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
Right.
How did that separation, was it a graduation or was it a divorce?
It was a graduation. Me and my partner, we still talk a lot. We're still pretty close. Yeah, we both still support each other in what we're doing. So it was definitely graduation. Now, when we transitioned to running the team and we had our first agent leave, that was a little bit harder for us. And I feel like that was almost more of a divorce.
Yeah.
But now we look at it as a graduation. Like we've really mended that bridge, and realized that that's what it is. Like we can't be mad for helping someone achieve.
We left them better than we found them, and that's really our ultimate goal with all of this.
Help them achieve higher levels, and then they want to go on their own. We graduated them, which is awesome.
Yeah.
So that's kind of been a little mindset shift for us too.
Yeah, that's amazing. And typically what we've always seen, especially in the traditional team model, as things have kind of evolved over the years, is that your top talent always came out the top. They would never ride in that team role if they were really, ambitious. They were really, a driver, alpha type personality that had, a little bit of entrepreneurial DNA, wanting to do and tinker and do their own thing. And so that was always kind of the flaw in the team model, is that your talent was always going to come out the top.
Yeah.
And a lot of team leaders had a hard time with that. And then they would try to sacrifice the model to get them to stay, make promises that go against, the fundamentals of why you have a business in the first place. And so I think you look at the new models emerging that are coming back and being a little more agent focused, and it helps support that, right? It helps support them graduating, but also still having a vested connection and interest in their success. And so that, for you, when you guys broke away from that relationship, what were you looking for?
With the agent leaving?
When you guys decided to get away from the flat fee brokerage, like you're like, man, I don't want this. Was it just to move away from that pain, or was it, no, I want to go this direction?
I think it was more to move away from the pain.
I think it was also solving a problem too. Like he said, he left his first team very quickly because he wasn't getting the leads, and he was like, okay, I know how to write contracts. I can upload my own contracts. I can do that kind of stuff. There's not really anything else that the team is currently solving for me. So I think it was a little bit of running away from pain, but also seeing like, okay, a lot of these agents do need help and they do need leads. Let's find a team. And there's not any teams here locally that are young and, I don't know, just kind of have a good culture, I would say. And that was something that I think a lot of agents were looking for. It
was kind of a mix. It was running away from the pain of the brokerage because it wasn't what I wanted to do. But being a mentor to a lot of these agents, I was like, well, running a team, I think, would be a good way to, I think I could run a very successful team in our marketplace with the right people. Right. And so it's like, let me take what I've learned over the last 2 years with mentoring agents. My production I was still doing, working full time for the brokerage and still producing at a high level. Like if I focus solely on production, I could ramp up production enough to really build out a team. And so it was part of running away from the pain of the brokerage, and also kind of seeing an opportunity and saying, hey, I think right now is a good time for that transition to happen, because I've had enough experience now that I can truly feel like a leader for a team.
Yeah.
So
Love it.
And I think working with you has made a huge impact as well, because when we first started working with you, I think we had a team of 5. It was us, 2 other agents, and an admin, and that was it. And we were a very high producing team, but it wasn't really, I think, what we envisioned. It wasn't like the culture. It wasn't like a lot of mentoring.
We were still like high level producing, like
Like we had to be really, just to make sure that we were paying office rent, paying for leads, paying for the admin. And then when we started working with you, you were kind of like finding the who, batteries included, all of that stuff, and that's really stuck with us. And now I think by the end of this month, we're going to be at a team of 16, and it's the best team we've ever had. It is so good on culture. We have so much fun. I know that the agents are at the office right now taking care of stuff. I don't have to worry about that. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a totally different dynamic than it was a year ago.
100%. Because again, it was, we don't know what we don't know. And
for sure,
we're new to running a team.
Yeah.
But getting a coach and getting into your kitchen table and hearing conversations from other teams, it was like, okay, we're not running this like a business. We're kind of just producing with other agents.
Yeah, just hanging out.
So that's really been a big thing to try to make that transition into like roles in the business and actually setting this up like a business.
Yeah.
So that eventually we're not just running around with our head cut off doing a lot of production. Yeah. We've got a system in place. So.
Yeah, I think too, it comes back to, what's the goal? What are we trying to accomplish? And what do we want this to be? And it can be whatever, right? It can be a lifestyle business where you make a lot of money and, you do whatever you want with it, or, you can set it up and run it like a business and put, fundamentals and, systems and processes and, really paying attention to, what the brand, what the business stands for, what you attract, great sales engine to be able to, really smoothly, handle the experience for the clients and also the experience for the agents. What, man, and I just remember, kind of one of the pain points, especially for you, Bri, when we were at kitchen table, was really just how do you let go? And came down to, letting go on the delegation side of things, being able to delegate. So, and I felt like that was just like a huge shift for you, just mentally just seeing it and getting it. And like almost coming out of that, just even having that conversation, like things just accelerated coming out of that event. Talk to me a little bit about that, kind of what was going through your mind up to it. And then, kind of what unlocked for you to be like, okay, all right, I can do this.
Yeah, no, when we were at the kitchen table, I remember when we were having that conversation, I was just getting like sweaty. It made me very uncomfortable because I'm not good at the delegating. I really am not. I'm very, very type A and I like things a certain way. And it's just, you touch on it perfectly. You're like, you think that somebody won't do it as good as you, but when you're not doing it at all, 90% is better than 0%. And I was like, okay, no, that's right. We have a very, very good client experience 90% of the time or 80% of the time. And at one point we were so busy, it was dropping down to like 50% of the time, right? Like 1 in 2 of my clients would have the same experience. So it was kind of just like, okay, I need to just be okay with somebody coming in, giving it 80% and making sure all of my clients are getting 80%. And so we had an agent on our team who just in my own opinion was more fit for this position than anybody else. And she agreed with that. She really wanted to kind of step in like the operations role. And she's very type A. She's very detail oriented. And so we kind of let her try it out for a few weeks. And I was like, okay, this will be good. Let's try it out for a few weeks. Make sure it's a good fit for you, for us, and we'll kind of see how it goes. And she was so on top of it. I will admit she does things better than I do things. And I'm just going to swallow my pride and say that. And so I was like, okay, no, this is perfect. So we offered her a salary position and she comes on and she just takes care of everything. And I will say it's been the best decision I've ever made, just because I know like she'll think of things that I didn't think of. And I'm like, gosh, dang it, why didn't I think of that? And I'm like, you know what? Doesn't even matter. She thought of it. She's taking care of it. That's what matters. That's what we hired her for. And it's been so good. So I think it was just kind of like swallowing my pride and just letting her kind of test it out for the both of us. And then proving herself, let her prove herself. I would never let anybody have that chance. I just shut everything down before it even had a chance to come to fruition. So I think that was probably the biggest difference.
That's a leadership jump. And, for everybody, catching that there, it's just that fear of letting go. And it's a lot of ego getting in the way of, the way I like to break down ego for everybody. And, ego is about being right. And all we're trying to do is get to right. And what is right? And well, you got to define what is right first before you can know what you're trying to get to. And so it could be a little bit of, I don't know. We just got to get it done instead of, well, what are we trying to accomplish? What's the goal here? Like, what are we trying to do? And then you can allow your people to be creative, be who they are. They have different experiences. They have different perspectives. They have different things that they bring to the table. That's what you want to surround yourself with. You want to build that team of individuals that have their unique ability, their unique perspective, and let it shine. That's how our organizations grow. And I mean, you go from, like you said, a couple agents, the two of you, to, what the team is in like not even a year.
Right.
Not even a year of how fast that's been able to make that jump. What do you look for now in a team member? You've had some unique perspective being on a team, flat fee brokerage, to small team, to now a big team. Who are you looking for? What type of agent, what type of person are you guys looking for?
Really, it's like we have kind of our core principles, core values. We want someone, it's like being genuine. Our core, like our big motto is to be more human. Yeah. So somebody that has a good attitude, just genuine, and can get along with other people is like, that's our core thing that we look for. Because I can teach you contracts and we've got the systems in place if you're not organized to help you get organized.
And a lot of our top producers are so personable and they just aren't organized. And it's not fair for us to expect them to be both. There's no way they're going to be both.
Sure.
And then we've got some that are very organized and they just are a little bit more shy and a little more timid. So we've kind of just had to decide, like, okay, what can we find and align with? And I think at first, when we started the team about a year ago, all we were looking for is somebody with drive. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, why we crashed and burned initially, just because it's got to be more than that. You've got to have more than that. You've got to be good to work with. You've got to get along with others. You've got to be just a good person to be around. People have to enjoy being around you, because we're in the office all day together. You're with clients all day. And like Anthony said, we can teach you the rest of the stuff. We can teach you the sales side. But I can't teach you to be a genuine and a good person.
Yeah, that's a little bit harder to teach.
Yeah,
it is. It really is. Lencioni's, ideal team player and all of their research, they have to be hungry. They have to be humble. And then they've got to have the people smarts. Yeah. And I always kind of liken the people smarts to emotional intelligence and into kind of, Bri, what you talked about, that lesson from Starbucks of just empathy and being humble, of, that's where the growth really happens, knowing that you don't have it all figured out. Are you coachable? Yeah. And that's the outcome over ego, right? I know I'm wrong. I'm trying to be less wrong. I'm just trying to get to right. I'm just trying to accomplish my goals. And so really, so important looking for that balance. It was an aha for us, because just what I heard, Bri, what I heard you say, you were looking for people that were driven, that wanted to just make a bunch of money, that would, that's one little bit of it. You can't base it all on that.
Yeah.
100%. Yep. And we learned that very quickly.
We did. Yep. And we have a great relationship with them now. I think we both just agreed that we do things very differently, and that's totally fine. But yeah, it was kind of like an aha moment for us. And we're like, okay, they have some really good attributes that we love that we're going to carry over, but there's also some things that we could kind of tweak in what we look for. And I think that that was such a good learning experience for us, that I don't know if we wouldn't have gone through that, if we would even be where we're at, because it taught us a lot, honestly. So
it is. You have to experience it. You have to see it to really know that, hey, I don't like that. Yeah, that's not for us. And so you got to make a lot of those errors, and it's just failing fast, right? Yep. Learning and keep moving, learning and keep moving, learning and keep moving. And who I was chatting with earlier this week, we were talking about decisions, and you see these organizations that are moving faster. And this would be, interesting for you guys to reflect on this a little bit, but kind of look back at, decision with coaching, decision to, come to Oklahoma City, decision to start making more decisions. And you look back and like, damn, we've made a lot of decisions, and how fast are we making decisions, and how fast can we continue to make decisions? And it was that lesson from Mark Chesley that when we had the opportunity to work with him, he was former CTO at Infusionsoft. And he said, the reason that you guys aren't moving as fast as you want to move is that your decisions per is off. Mm-hmm. We're like, what? He's like, yeah, your decisions per month, your decisions per week, your decisions per day, your decisions per hour are too slow. You have to make decisions faster. Mm-hmm. So looking back on that, do you guys have a specific framework that you look at to say, we need to make this is the right decision?
Not a framework. A lot of it's just been like gut, like go with the gut.
Yeah.
It's like,
there's been some times we've kind of had to draw out the numbers and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's also like, I just feel like
sometimes the numbers don't even make sense when you draw them out at first.
Right.
To transition from, we had a great deal with when I left HomeSmart, I negotiated a great deal where it was costing us basically nothing to run the team. Mm-hmm. When we got the opportunity, we looked at EXP. It was going to cost us to, bring over all the agent stuff, probably 50, 60 grand more a year. Mm-hmm. And it was like, yeah, it doesn't really make sense. But I think that there's I think there's a lot of opportunity here, right, that we could grow into.
And it was just the networking and the people that we met, which obviously
we met so many great people.
That alone just made it worth it.
We got coaching with you. We went to the Dallas event. That was very sporadic. These things. And then it was like going to Oklahoma City. Yeah. And now this transition over to Real, it was like, Some look at it and it's like, man, these guys can't decide what they're doing, or but it's like we're making a decision quickly and we're going with it. And it's maybe it's not the right decision. We don't know, but
at this point, I think it's just that we're willing to take the risk. If we crash and burn, we crash and burn, and that's something that we're willing to take on and risk. We're
fairly confident that even if everything went wrong, we won't crash and burn.
Yeah,
like we can carry it.
Yeah,
and so we're not looking to. I think it's like, there was a great, I can't remember who said the quote, but it was like, whoever can hold their breath the longest wins. And so we're not trying to make a huge amount of money right now off the team or anything like that. We're trying to grow.
Yeah.
And so it's like, there's a lot of people like Justin Nielsen says it all the time. Like there's a lot of people running teams that take too much profit. And there's a lot of people that just don't make any profit. But he's like, you got to find that sweet spot of not trying, you got to reinvest into the company. And so it's like, we're making all these transitions. Yeah, they cost money and yeah, they're going to affect our income in the short term, but they're long-term plays that we're trying to make.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's such a great lesson. And I always push everybody, right around the 25% profitability mark, because, you've got a good profit, you've got, there to cover for taxes, and it leaves you 75 cents of every dollar that comes in to put the best team on the field to execute on the big picture of whatever it is that you guys are wanting to accomplish. And it is the number one thing that causes people to not grow, is not having enough money to reinvest back into the growth of the company. Right. And it comes down to, I had a opportunity, I got to connect with Alex and Sarah and his beautiful family last night. And we were, I went with him and his little boy got a haircut, and we got into the conversation of really it's incredible with people's relationship to money.
Yeah.
And, there was just, you start to think back, and we were talking about, our parents, we were talking about, the relationship that they had with money. And it's one of those things, right? Because if you can figure that out, I really believe if you can figure out and understand the relationship to money, then that unleashes just so much potential.
Yeah.
Just an incident, people belly aching over a couple $100 charge here or there. And I'm like, mofos, I just took, team squad out for dinner, and that was I dropped, what you're belly aching about for over a dinner. But it comes back down to understanding that relationship. and how you value what that, what that relationship to money is. And so,
and having like an abundance mindset of, it's not like this is the only money you're going to have. It'll come in and out. It's like there's plenty of opportunities to make more money.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people that have that scarcity mindset that, they just hoard it. They hoard all their money. They're scared to spend it, which stops them from growing.
Yeah, it really does.
So,
it really does. And I think too, what you just said is that investment in the personal development, investment in becoming the best version of yourself. Our business is only elastic to the size of our leadership capabilities. And, that lesson, Bri, of you coming out of kitchen table, learning to like let go, that's a leadership jump. That's a direct correlation to, okay, I grew. Now look at the business growing.
Yeah.
And so what is Jim Rohn's concept? 10% of the revenue that you want to earn for the year needs to be invested back into. It's got to be a line item, part of your budget. It's like, hey, if we're going to make $1 million in revenue this year, then we understand that 10% of that has got to be allocated to coaching, events, training, personal development, books. It has to be a budget. It has to be a line item.
Yep.
Everybody's looking for that next, stock that they can invest in that's going to turn a profit. And it's like, invest in your own stock. Like if you can increase your own stock and increase your ability to generate income, that's the biggest ROI.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but so many people are afraid to invest in themselves to get to the next level, to produce more. So yeah, it's one thing that we definitely have not been shy with. We spend a lot of money trying to invest in other.
But I'm glad, like I've never done something like what we spend it on and regretted it, not once.
Right.
So
yeah, me either. And I think it's that, learner mindset, going in and, if you're clear on, hey, these are my issues, this is what I'm trying to solve. And you go in with that open mind and you listen, you see things differently, you ask better questions. And, a lot of people don't even know what they're trying to do. They don't even know what problems, they're not problem aware.
Yeah.
And so, trying to stay as problem aware as possible. And that's where coaching helps us too, because we all have blind spots. Sometimes we're in the trenches so deep, we can't see, it's the whole forest and tree.
Yeah.
And, to be a great leader that's wanting to build anything, you've got to be able to see, the tree, and you got to be able to see the whole forest.
Yeah.
And it takes both. And that's what we're always striving and always working towards, is improving our ability to see both.
Yeah. And sometimes you need that person to drag you out of the weeds and say, hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Because that was part of our biggest issues. We were just head down, grinding, going to the kitchen table. It allowed Bri to get, she always just puts her head down and works.
Yeah.
That allowed her to see the bigger picture, which I try to see, but it's hard for me to communicate that to her. It's like that rocket fuel book is similar to what we have. It's like I'm the visionary. She's kind of the integrator.
Yeah.
But she just had so much to integrate that we needed to get her help.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to, changing our thinking from the who, not how, right? It goes back to our relationship with money, and typically, where is that learned? That's passed from generation to generation. So you look at, the generation ahead, and, like talking with Alex, and he was talking about his tax bill, and, his parents couldn't believe the check for his tax bill because it was more than what they make in a year.
Yeah.
And he's like, it is what it is. Like, I'm just going to go make more money. And, I think when you understand and know that doesn't have to be true, like the who, not how, we just have all been wired to, damn, how am I going to figure this out? To no. That's not the right question to ask anymore. The question is, who do I need to align with? Who do I need to get? What leverage do I need to get? Who can help me overcome this obstacle, this challenge, and allow us to move faster?
Yep, exactly. And that's a conversation we were having over dinner last night. We're trying to find a new position for.
Need a few more Hughes.
Yeah, a few more Hughes. And he was like, I'm gonna go watch a YouTube video on it. And I was like, no, you're completely missing the point. We don't have time for that, clearly.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that, you wish you just have time, and you got to find that person that you can just plug in and say, here.
Batteries included.
Yeah.
Batteries included. I think I remember this so vividly just because what you said with the YouTube, that's so funny. When Kendra and I first started this was 05, that's 05. And we were trying to lay out new listing presentation. And we were like, we're going to burn the midnight oil. We're going to put one together. It's like, all right, I'm going to go over to the store. I'll go over and grab 12-pack of beer, come back, put it in the fridge. Reedy's in there, me, Reedy, Jay, and we're all pop a beer. And then they start diving in. And the way the office set up, it's a big old, wooden desk they're back there working. And I'm sitting back there and I kind of zoomed out for a second and I'm like, hey fellas, this is the dumbest shit that we're ever about to do. They turned around and they looked and they go, what? I'm like, we have no business creating a PowerPoint presentation. Like, we know the content, we know what we want it to be. Can we find somebody to do this?
Right.
And we just asked the question, who can do this for us? Reedy goes, man, I might know somebody. And sure enough, he did. We got 3 presentations done. We got a listing, buyer, recruiting, $250.
Yeah.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
We would have been there all night frustrated. It would have been terrible.
Yep.
So.
And that wasn't your guys' best ROI on time either.
It was definitely not our best use.
Our friends give us crap. Same reason. We'll hire people for something for everything at the house. So like he has a guy that'll come mow the lawn. We've got a house cleaner, and all of our friends give us so much crap about it. And they're like, oh my gosh, you guys, like, you have a home, but you don't even like take care of it. Like, it's very clean, but his point was like, we hire someone to do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, it takes me an hour to mow the lawn. I can go sell 2 houses in an hour and make way more money than what I'm going to spend paying this college kid to mow the lawn. And it's so funny because we always get so much crap, but it's just a totally different perspective, I think.
For sure.
It's that relationship with time. It's that relationship with money. And it goes back to, if you guys, listening in, have not gone through Who Not How, you have to get a copy of it, because Dan breaks it all down in there. Mm-hmm. He breaks down the whole reasoning, the reasoning why. And it's just because we were conditioned that way, prior generations. It's just, almost out of necessity, they had to do it that way. But then they, pride thing, and then that got carried over, and it's like, hold on, we got to do it this way. And I had a conversation with Joel the other day, and he said, you're gonna be so proud, I finally got somebody that's gonna come take care of my yard. And I started laughing. I was like, dude, you're like one of the smartest humans that I know, and yet you understand this concept, but yet you still want to, mow your damn yard. And he's like, I know. So it's just funny when, people, when they finally get it, and when you get that, I see people level their earning capabilities jump.
Yeah.
Well, look at Justin Nelson. Like, he would, if we were telling Justin Nelson we hired someone to mow our lawn and clean our house, he'd be like, that's it.
Well, what else can
you don't have someone grocery shopping? You don't have someone feeding the dog? You don't.
Yeah.
So it's just leverage. He leverages so well.
And I think a lot of it is a pride thing. A lot of people are afraid to, my friends give me flack. You don't mow your own lawn. You don't do this. You're so bougie. And it's like, no, I just understand that it's not worth my time right now.
Yeah.
Like, I have so many other things on my plate that I could get done. It's just not worth it. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Looking at kind of where things are, new transition for you, about to be a new transition for you guys personally, a lot of change.
Yeah.
What are you guys kind of, looking forward to, the most excited about moving forward?
I think our opportunity with our new brokerage is pretty cool. We're going to speak at an event in New Mexico with Michael Perry from the Perry Group, which is kind of cool. We've developed some really good relationships with, I think, some really good individuals that are kind of in the same area of life that we are in, that I think are going to be able to help us really progress and get to that next level. So, excited about everything that's going on with our new brokerage.
I'm excited too, because I feel like we've really, really dialed in our systems and our processes. I just finished like this whole lesson plan for the team on training and onboarding. So we just onboarded 2 new agents last week, plugged them in, and I swear to you, they know more than our existing agents, just because we never had that training that I just created. And so I feel like we just it's just been a really, really smooth onboarding process for everybody, the agents and us, just because of all of that. So I just feel like it's a little bit less stressful. It's a lot more enjoyable, but you got to put in the work to get there, because otherwise I almost didn't do it. And I was like, no, we'll just train these 2 agents like we've trained all the last. It'll be fine. I know though that I would have been regretting that decision. So I'm glad we just kind of took the time to get it done.
Yeah, and it took a lot of time up front, but the time that we're going to gain from that lesson plan is like we can't even put a number on it.
Right.
It's going to save so much time.
Yeah.
And all this stuff is going to help with our transition that's coming in the next few months. So it's like we're trying to get everything ready for that too. And so
it's kind of forcing us, really, now that we have like a time limit.
Yeah. We
have to be ready to go by September. So I feel like it's kind of forcing us. We have no choice, honestly. So
yeah. It's the it's amazing. It's the whole you're going on vacation, how much shit you get done in that time frame. And so you guys are having and family is growing, and so being able to have that timeline. What I love about that is that it's getting yourself in a position to where you can be present and really enjoy that experience and be there in that moment. I know looking back, my kiddos, my older kiddos, just just wasn't able to be in a position to be present. And so it's such a powerful thing to understand that you have the ability to. It's a creative world. You have the ability to design your business and your life however you want, to give you that flexibility to where you can be present in any moment that you want to be.
100%. Yeah. And it's exciting that we've come to learn that. I think we've learned that a lot over the last just like even year or two.
Well, and both of our parents, we both have a similar upbringing in the sense that both of our parents were like workaholics. They worked all the time. And I really appreciate that, because it taught us a lot of like the drive and the ambition that we have. But it also taught us that you can have both. You can work hard, play hard, and still have time for what's important for you. So I think that was kind of like a little bit of a shift for us too, kind of realizing that it doesn't have to be that way. We don't have to go to the office until midnight, come home, sleep 3 hours, and go back to the office.
100%. 100%. Well, fantastic, guys. I really appreciate you jumping in, hanging out. Great conversation, tons of nuggets in there, and can't wait to get back and listen through, and definitely want to make sure that everybody listening in to give you guys some love. And we've been kind of scrolling on the bottom here on the video of ways to connect with the two of you. For folks listening in, what's the best way if they want to kind of circle back and continue the conversation? What's a great way to connect?
It's all you.
Probably Instagram or email, I would say. And we're both on Instagram. I think cool. I'm Bri Elizondo, and then just Anthony at Top Notch ID email.
Cool. Awesome. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you guys.
So
appreciate it.
Bye.